okay, and being contrite is another thing about sin. The opposite of being proud of it, okay? So there's a whole different way to look at this business of sinning. It's certainly not optimal, is it? It doesn't make anyone feel good. It makes you feel separated. It tugs at your conscience. And you know, your spirit wants to soar like the eagles, but your flesh wants to drag you down into the gutter. That's the way it is. There's a schism, there's a battle taking place, even within our own members, the flesh at war with the spirit. You know, that's it. One wants what it wants, and it's never going to relent. That's the spirit. That's the eternal side. That's our essence, our heart, and our mind, our soul. So that one's going to win out eventually. We know that we're going to have to relinquish these bodies of death, because that's what they are essentially, these mortal bodies. We got to give them over. We've got to all be born again in that sense, for sure. RBG died, and you know, I kind of admire her. I love strong women, and so I'm down with that. Inequality, it's good American principles. I'm all for it, you know, really. So I think she was all right, you know, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, King Solomon, I'm sure glad you're wiser than him. He said that out of 1,000 women, men, there's one righteous man, but out of 1,000 women, not one. That was a stupid thing to say, and I'm glad that those words never came out of the mouth of Jesus Christ. So far wiser, like Jesus said, one far wiser than Solomon is here, because Jesus knew the Bible at that time as much as it was written at that time. Of course, the New Testament couldn't be written until he was, you know, the documents were in place, the testimonials were in place, the stories were in place, the history was in place. But yeah, he knew what had been written to that point. He knew about Solomon. You know, the Supreme Court was established by George Washington in 1789. You know, and some say because George Washington did own slaves, that, you know, people that own slaves, their statues should be torn down and they should be excommunicated. So why should any of the policies he established, why should we tolerate those? And if the Supreme Court was part of those policies, then let's abolish the Supreme Court. Who needs it? You understand? You understand all the people that would be opposed to me in these teachings that I offer the world, what I preach and teach? The establishment's got to be shaken to its core. Nobody is any more important than anybody else. Fall off the face of the earth tomorrow. If you're a Supreme Court justice, if you're the President of the United States, if you're a CEO, see if the world comes to a grinding halt tomorrow. See what a VIP you are in the scheme of things. No, none of us are. None of us are indispensable. You know, as for voting, I could give a crap what anybody says about their party affiliation, Democrat or Republican. Listen, you know what? There's going to be one criteria. If those politicians were around in '08, I want to know how they voted on that bailout. And I know Joe Biden voted for that bailout because he was a pure puppet for Barack Obama, who was one of the biggest traitors in American history to the American people, to the poor people, to the struggling people. That's what he was. He greatly increased poverty, the wealth imbalance, and the national debt. Look into it. I'm not making nothing up. People need to know who Barack Obama was. And you know what led up to the need for that bailout? That Slick Willie character. He's the second worst traitor. And then that George Bush was a useless, feckless pustule of a president. Baby Bush. What did he know about 9/11? One of his brothers was in charge of security at the World Trade Center. Oh, no, I don't trust these politicians, for they're evil, man. They're evil, man. They're working for the New World Order cabal, man. They know which side their bread is butter. I don't give a crap about your tax dollars. They print money at will. They vote themselves raises. They say, oh, the federal wants to labor, wants to get wages up. That's why he's going to try to cause inflation with all his money printing. Oh, it's deliberateness. Well, it's in your face. We're watering down your money, but oh no, it's to help the poor to get wages up. If that is not a liar, I'm just exposing fruitless deeds of darkness. These people, in their dreams, they're just stupid, idiotic incompetence. They're wet dreams. No, they're evil. They're deliberately evil traitors to the American way of life, to the American people, Do you understand? It's the Federal Labor Department. That's whose job it is. There's a thing called a CPI, a Consumer Price Index. It's a simple mathematical equation they can calculate annually, called the market basket of goods in economic terms. Well, what stuff, first and foremost, at the top of that list? Essential human needs. People need to exist, to survive. Housing, food, potable water, energy needs. You calculate those absolutely first. Simple calculation. All math, all logic, indisputable, irrefutable facts. They had every justification to come out and raise wages annually. Sorry, employers, but hey, these people are manipulating markets as long as you let them. We're going to make sure that we maintain the same standard of living for the minimum wage workers across America that we had at its inception. What is wrong with that? There's something very wrong with not doing that. It's giving them a pay decrease perpetually. How am I wrong? I want everybody to start talking like me. Inform people, become empowered, and demand justice from these evildoers in the Congress and the Senate. Not all of them, but a critical mass, enough to get the job done. The money printers, get rid of that damn Federal Reserve. United States Treasury, take over it. Trump, paying pennies on the dollar. The Labor Department, you stop what you're doing. We need a new dollar, reset this. We need a minimum wage based on reality in the 21st century, where people can afford a middle-class lifestyle, to realize the American dream of home ownership. That's what we want back, where one person, one spouse, could stay home all day, take care of the family if they want to. That's what we want back. Trump, you want to make America great? That's what you need to do. Continuing here, I'm going to get on to some thoughts I've had from this past week or so. I'm going to read fast because I've only got a few minutes left. Have you ever said to yourself, never again, only to find yourself doing it, quote, over and over again? This is evidence of humanness. Goes back to that schism I was talking about between the flesh and the spirit. When I look for a shepherd to follow, a preacher to listen to, I am looking for one whom I know, call it a sixth sense, has said to himself, please don't give me any more. My cup is already overflowing. Let us seek that all men have at least as much as we, long before we seek more for ourselves, for I know that is what my parents want. I'm talking about our divine parents, the Creator God Almighty. Don't you think that makes sense? It does to me. With the fail-safe, our conscience that he put in us. Though a humbling, awkward, even shameful experience, humiliation is what is, we must admit, is the benefits. We must admit the benefits. For example, humiliation induces a sense of humility and compunction. Whether based in fact or not, when it comes to the ladies, all men need to believe that they are the best catch possible. That's how guys are, ladies. You know, we all think we're the cock of the walk, right? Well, I stand firmly behind my proclamation that I love everyone. I heard a song, you know the one. I think it was by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young from the 70s. And I stand by the idea that loving everyone includes my enemies. However, I honestly wish I could like everyone. Yet I cannot safely say that even about myself. The lesson is clear: to strive to be a more likable person and attract likable people. To not overjudge, certainly not condemn anyone for being temporarily unlikable. We all do that. Just as an employee, a servant, or a slave may be fired at will by their employer, their boss, their master, so too the converse is true. That's that whole take this job and shove it attitude, right? If you really want to lift God's wrath, a wrath which comes in the form of allowing human-related disasters such as unquenchable forest fires, disease, pandemics, and heinous crime, God has clear, unrelenting message to evildoers and their army of inadvertently evil minions. Set the captives free. Your time is up. Do me a favor. Go out and love everyone, including your enemies. Okay? I want the best for you and everyone else. We're all individuals, so there's no shortage of best. Okay? Have a great day, great weekend, great eternity.